Hello and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, I went vegan for a month and I just wanted to put it all into a video just to let you guys know how it went, what I liked, what I didn't like about it, the pros and cons basically of being vegan. So first things first, this was not a decision that I took ages to think about. I didn't even really know veganuary was a thing, but in late December I was walking around Morrison's and then I came across this book, the 28-day vegan plan, and I thought, you know, sounds like a pretty decent New Year's resolution just to try and challenge myself to do something like that, because I am quite a big meat eater and like seafood and dairy. I enjoy all of that stuff, so like for me to tackle this challenge I thought was a pretty big thing to do, and I kind of wanted to prove to myself more than anything that I could actually do it. I looked it up obviously before January, just in the last few days of December. Quite a few YouTubers that had done it in past years, and quite a lot of them like were already vegetarian, and like some of them didn't even eat dairy. So I was like, so going vegan for a month like was not a challenge. But yeah, I went full cold turkey. I cut out all meat, all dairy, honey and all that stuff. I didn't go too wild. I didn't like cut out avocados and stuff. I know that they're technically not vegan, but whatever. I was just doing it more for the challenge aspect more than anything else. So the first week of the month was the most challenging. I had to follow this book to a T. It's really useful. It has 4 full weeks of meals like breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks in the day that you can eat. So the first week I was like, I'm just gonna have to follow this book because I'm not the kind of person with something like this where I can just wing it. Like if I was just gonna wing it for the first week, I can guarantee I would have failed miserably and I would have eaten like some yogurt.
Would you like a gooseberry and cinnamon yogurt?
I don't know. Yeah, so this book, you get like the first week shopping list, and jeez, like when I was walking around buying all this stuff that I didn't have in the house, I was like, this is gonna be so expensive. A lot of the nuts and seeds are just super pricey. They're obviously offset with how cheap a lot of the vegetables and fruits are, which is great, but altogether, like if you were to factor meat into that and various different meat products, they are usually a lot more expensive to buy compared to like the starchy carbs and stuff like potatoes or whatever. It kind of evens out price-wise. So yeah, the first week I followed all these recipes, and what I found, no offense to this person, but I found a lot of these recipes really boring. I kind of wanted to do this for the challenge part in that I wanted to be a bit more creative in the kitchen with different things, and this was just kind of like, some of these were just so boring, the recipes. Like some of these recipes, literally the seasoning is salt and pepper and like half a teaspoon of paprika or something like that, and I'm just not about that life. I mean, I'm pretty decent in the kitchen, so I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna add loads more flavors to this just to make it a bit more exciting than it already is. But this book essentially got me through the first week with all the snacks and everything. But then after that, I just kind of threw the book and I was like, now I'm just gonna I feel confident enough now to do my own stuff, so I'm gonna go along with what I feel like I can make. So the first week of being vegan is definitely hands down the hardest week because your body's just getting used to all the differences in your diet, so the mass intake of much more fiber. I was feeling hungry like all the time because I would be making myself the same size plates as I would have been before when I was eating meat and dairy and stuff, but it wasn't filling me up the same as it used to, or it would fill me up but then I would be hungry again very soon, just because my body was like, oh, what, that was it? What is this? And yeah, I kind of constantly found myself like looking for snacks to eat, and I was just like, oh, I can have an apple, or I'll have some almonds. Eh, fun. Along with that, there was a lot of bloating, like, But once the first week is over, it kind of got a lot easier from there on because my body had kind of adapted to what was happening. It was fine. The second week, I found that's when the cravings started. Like, I would find myself in supermarkets just looking in the sweet aisle, the candy aisle for all you Americans, and like ice creams and stuff. I would just like stare at them, just seeing if I could have any of them, because the main thing with sweets that I couldn't have is gelatin, and there are actually quite a lot of sweets out there that don't have any gelatin in, like refreshers don't have any gelatin in. I ate some refreshers, they were great. Like beforehand I wasn't even really that much into sweets. Like they were fine, I'd have them, but I wouldn't have them so often that I was like addicted to it. I'd also go to the free from aisle, which had all the gluten-free and blah, 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 all the different stuff, and they had quite a lot of different options. One of my favorites to get is the soya yogurts, which once you first have them, they are like very strange texture-wise. Like they are very strange texture-wise. They're very thick, and it has a bit more of a bite to it than a regular yogurt that I was used to. But once I kind of got over that, they're actually really good, and they're high in protein, and they have they're like fortified, so they have calcium and vitamin B12 and stuff in it that everyone was just like, you're gonna be lacking nutrients because you're vegan now. They also have a lot of like dairy-free chocolate stuff. Like I got this bunny comb little chocolate bar, and it was kind of like a little crunchy, and oh my days, it was amazing. I only managed to get one, and then every time I went back they didn't have any, and I was like cool. So I want to talk through like my basic meals now once I stopped using the book. So for breakfast, I started off by having porridge. Like you have to have the full rolled oats, you can't use the instant porridge, those little pots that you get that you just add hot water in, because all of them have milk powder in. So I had to use the full oats, which again, they have a lot more of a bite to them, so it's a bit like when you're eating them you just kind of like, which is not my favorite. And I would like cook them with water or using almond milk and peanut butter, bananas. Peanut butter is something that I hated. Like I absolutely hated peanut butter before I went vegan, and then now I kind of forced myself to eat it because it was a healthy, in moderation, healthy source of like fats and protein. And now I kind of like it. So this is that. That's one outcome from this month. If I wasn't eating that though, I would be eating fortified cereals, toast, avocado toast, fruit, or I could have smoothies, which I would make with fruit and frozen fruit that I'd bought so it'd keep cool. I'd use almond milk as well, which is fortified with the added nutrients again, and I would use like a couple tablespoons of ground linseed, which had a lot of omega-3 fats and different nutrients as well, just because it was super healthy. So for lunch, I would have various different things. I would have sandwiches, like there's loads of different sandwiches you can get. There's a lot of meat-free slices of soy, the hummus, beetroot, different vegetables. There's a lot of vegan alternatives that you can have in sandwiches. It's great. Salads, I have a lot of salads, a lot of chickpeas, whole grains, a lot of custard. Custard? No, I wouldn't have custard. A lot of different whole grain stuff, so bulgur wheat, quinoa, hummus, again, a lot of hummus. I ate a lot of hummus. For dinner, there's so many options. Like, I went all out for dinners. I was trying to make as many different style meals as I could. I'll put some pictures up of ones that I did make. I would go out originally and I would stick to things that I knew were vegan, like tofu and beans and chickpeas and stuff. And a lot of the alternative ranges were only vegetarian only because some of them use milk or eggs. But Linda McCartney is a heaven sent. It is such an amazing range. One that I particularly loved that I got over and over and over again was like a shredded duck, but it wasn't duck, it was like made out of soy. And wow, like, you know, you can get it from Chinese and you can get it in pancakes with like hoisin sauce and cucumber and blah blah blah. It was literally like that. It was frozen as well, so it was super convenient, and you can cook all these like vegetarian alternatives, vegan alternatives from frozen, which is great. Like if you freeze meat, you generally have to defrost it first before you cook it, so it's a very long process. Whereas this stuff you can literally get straight out of the freezer, put it in a pan or put it in the oven, and it's great. So there's that duck, which I made probably like at least 3 times a week because it was so good. Like making it in numerous stir fries, you can make it with rice, you can make it with noodles, you could have it in wraps, you could have it in a sandwich, you could cook it off and let it cool and then take it for a sandwich the next day. It was just, wow, it was amazing. Along with that, it's the vegetarian sausages, and I like cross-compared these with like a generic meat-based frozen sausage as well, and they are so much better for you. A lot of people, when they think of vegans, they're like, where do you get your protein from? You're gonna wither and die. But these sausages had like 3 times the amount of protein that a regular sausage would have in them, 3 times less fat, and I'm like, along with that, this year I feel like has been a massive year for not only supermarkets but chains in general, restaurants in general, having a massive vegan push. Morrison's brought out a range called the M-Taste range, and it's brilliant. Like, some of the stuff in there's this lentil casserole that I am obsessed with. It's beautiful. Along with that, there was a butternut squash curry that I would have. Marks and Spencer's also have a range out called Plant Kitchen. I didn't actually get round to going to Marks and Spencer's at all to buy them, but I've seen a lot of other YouTubers using them and they looked brilliant. Going off what I was saying earlier, I was kind of concerned in my protein intake because I do go to the gym quite a lot, and the program I'm on is quite difficult, so it requires quite a lot of protein for recovery. In my down days and also after I've worked out. And the protein powder that I was using before is made from whey, which is like, it's from milk basically. I couldn't use that anymore. So I went out to Holland & Barrett, which is a brilliant like supplement shop in the UK, like health food in general, to get a vegan protein powder, and I found one. It was dark chocolate, and I got home and I smelled it and I was like, oh, this smells really good. And then I put it in my shaker, and as soon as it mixed with the water, it just had this rancid smell. It was horrible. Like, I could not smell it because it would kind of make me feel a bit sick. So I would like down it anyway, and the texture of it as well was disgusting. It was made from pea protein. It kind of got this grainy texture. Like the whey protein before would go smooth, kind of like a really thin milkshake. But this, even if I blended it with almond milk, no, it was horrible. It was like you were drinking sand water. It was disgusting. Would not recommend. I went out a couple of times, and this was the thing that I wasn't looking forward to because it felt like I was going to feel really awkward asking if there wasn't a clear vegan option on the menu, if they did anything, because I didn't want to be like that awkward customer. I didn't kind of want to feel like a nuisance to them, so like when I was thinking about going out, I'd get super anxious. Luckily though, a lot of restaurants, as I was saying earlier, do have a lot of vegan menus, especially chain restaurants. One that I went to was All Bar One, and they have a full vegan menu, like a 3-course with multiple options, which was amazing. I loved it, it was great. Also, Zizi, they have a vegan menu as well. I had a beautiful pizza there with caramelized onions and butternut squash on it with like vegan cheese. Vegan cheese is interesting. It's made from coconut oil. It tastes like quite a mild cheddar, which is fine by me because I don't like strong cheese. The only thing is, like, it doesn't, when you cook it, because it is basically just oil, it just slides away. It doesn't stick to the pizza like regular cheese does. Not saying that it's like, just because it's oil, it's super fatty. It's actually lower in fat than a lot of cheeses. One thing I did notice throughout the month is that I kind of wanted junk food a lot. I think it's just because I couldn't have it. The same thing with the sweets and the ice cream and stuff. It was just mainly because I couldn't have it that I was like, I want this now. But again, McDonald's, they brought out this month a vegan wrap called the Spicy Veggie Wrap. And wow, it's beautiful. I love it so much. It's great. The fries are vegan as well. Well, they are in England because they're cooked in vegetable oil, which is great. So whenever I was having that, I could go there. And obviously Greg's released their vegan sausage roll as well. And I'm not a sausage roll person, so I didn't rush to try. I didn't try that, basically. A lot of people in general, like I kind of touched on this, were suddenly concerned for my nourishment. Like, they were suddenly concerned that because I'd gone vegan, I have now become malnourished and I am going to die soon. No, I'm not. I find it very strange that when people think you're gonna be vegan, that all you're gonna eat is like grass and lettuce. It's not like that at all. There are so many options. If I was to flip it the other way, and let's say I was someone that just lived on a pure fast food, processed food diet, no one would ever really mention anything because they would just be like, oh, it's fine, it's the norm. But because this is kind of like a newer thing, they're like, what are you doing, Satan? You need to eat all this stuff that I eat. And the fact of it is that in this month I probably took in a lot more nutrients than I was beforehand. Over the month I felt a lot better in myself, and I've seen a counter argument of people that also did this for a month. Some of them said they didn't really feel any better. Some of them said they feel miles better. I, for one, felt a lot better. I felt like I had a lot more energy all the time. As soon as I would wake up in the morning, like if I sit up out of bed, I was like, I'm ready to go now. Whereas before it would take me about 5 hours to sit up in bed because I wasn't about that life. I was hoping with this month that along with the gym that I would be able to lose some weight, and I did. I lost 6 pounds, which is the most I've ever lost in a month, and I was super happy with that outcome. Like, and I can feel it. Like, I feel like I have lost weight. I feel better for it. Okay, so there's some general questions that people ask vegans after they try it for a month, so I'm gonna see what I feel. Do I feel better? Yes, I feel better. Over the month, I lost 6 pounds of weight, which is amazing. It's like the most effective diet I've ever been on. Not that it's really a diet, it's just kind of like a way of life. But for me, it was super useful in that I couldn't eat a lot of the things I wanted to. Like, I couldn't go in the cupboard and just pick up any bag of crisps because half of them had like milk powder or whatever in them. Or I couldn't eat any biscuits because they would have butter in. Or I couldn't eat a lot of yogurts. I'd have to have specific yogurts. And if I ran out of them, I had to eat fruit or nuts, which again are healthy. Was it awkward? Not for me, because I made most of my own meals. When I was going out in public though, if I was ever going out with a friend, I would feel like I would have to make sure that where we were going did have a vegan option, just so that I wasn't going to be that awkward one, because I didn't want to be the person that they didn't have any options on the menu. I was like, what can you make for me? Was it easy? Yes. Yeah, it was very easy actually. It's a lot easier than people think it's going to be. There are so many options out there this year. In particular, like so many ranges being brought out by every supermarket. This is in the UK, and I mean I don't know what it's like in the US, but in the UK it's very easy right now to do it. Should you do it? Yes, I think you should try it. I think everyone should try this for a month. I think everyone should challenge themselves, even if you don't end up staying it after or whatever. If you don't like it, you can at least say you've tried it. And then when you are talking to someone that is doing it or is thinking about doing it, you can give your experiences and you can realize that there are actually a lot more options than you think there are. What was my favorite bit? My favorite bit was probably the creativity side of it. The amount of different meals that I could make with different things, it was just mind-blowing. Like beforehand I would always just feel like this meal is incomplete because it doesn't have a meat or it doesn't have prawns or whatever. Whereas now I'm just like, there's so many different things you can use in meals and you can change them out and it will essentially be a completely different meal. And it's great. I love it. Will I carry it on? Well, it's currently the 5th of February. No, the 6th. It's the 6th of February right now. And I have carried it on for now, just because I feel really good doing it. People ask me if I miss or what I miss the most, and I don't really have an answer, because there isn't really a specific thing that I do miss. I don't think that I will carry this on indefinitely. I doubt it. But there's a term I came across called flexitarian, which I didn't know was a word, and it's basically someone that lives mainly a plant-based diet, but then like on the occasion will have meat or will have dairy or whatever. And I feel like that is probably the path I'll go down. So when I'm like at home, I will probably stick to mainly plant-based stuff, and then maybe if I go out for a meal, I'll eat meat or I'll eat seafood or whatever whenever I feel like it. But for me right now, it really helps me keep on top of my health, and it stops me from over snacking on bad things because I'm like, oh, I can't have that because it's got butter in. Butter is bad. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you got a lot of insight. Hopefully I didn't waffle too much about things. I tried to stick to an order, don't know if it worked. Let me know in the comments if you guys have tried it before, if you want to try it, if you have any questions to ask me, anything at all. And I'll see you next time.